It's now my turn to perform a very important function as captured in the new standing orders of Parliament. I come to you in fulfillment of a novel provision in our standing orders, Order 20, Rule 4F, which require me and all future speakers of Parliament to, I quote the relevant portion, give the valedictory address at the final sitting of the House before the dissolution of the House, unquote. I therefore deliver this valedictory address at the final sitting of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic of Ghana with humility and sobering reflections. Humility for the opportunity graciously given me to serve you, to serve all Ghanaians and our great nation, Ghana. Honorable members, in view of the exigencies of the current situation, I plead to call on the Office of the Official Report to capture the contents of the entire address as having been read by me. I further call on the Office to capture the contents of the annual reports of the Parliamentary Service and the handing over notes of the Clerk to Parliament, Mr. Cyril Kwabena Oteng Nsian. You will have details of the valedictory address in these documents. And so what I intend to do is to give you the broad strokes of the address, even though that is also still lengthy. Because a valedictory address is to give a full report of the 4 years of what we have achieved or not achieved. Let me say how grateful I am to the Almighty God for His divine grace, which has guided my journey and sustained me through the immense responsibilities of presiding over the proceedings of this August House and chairing the meetings of the Parliamentary Service Board. It has been a divine privilege to serve as Speaker of Ghana's Parliament at a time of a historic hung Parliament. And many cases, or countries, I should say, including Australia, the United Kingdom, and even Ghana, during the tenure of the Third Republic, could not make it to the full hog of the term of the Parliament. But we have succeeded. I talked about being sobering and pensive because this is a product of an experience of an uncharted path of trials and tribulations, miracles and mysteries, and of accomplishments and missed opportunities. The 8th Parliament, which has been unique in its composition and historic in its journey, will remain a testament to the resilience of our democratic traditions and the collective spirit of our people. Along the way, our Creator, the Almighty God, elevated 2 of the members of the House to his kingdom. You all recall these illustrious members were the honorable members for the Kumewu and Ejoso constituencies, the late Philip Baswa and the late John Ampotua Kuma, respectively. I'm very sure they are in the promised land where the Almighty God himself is waiting for all of us at the appropriate time. And so I want to emphasize what we did by wishing that their souls rest in perfect peace. Indeed, it is with a great sense of humility, gratitude, reflection, and hope that I, through you, address the people of Ghana today as we draw the curtain on the life of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic. Over the past 4 years, we have together navigated uncharted waters. The 8th Parliament, distinguished by its equal representation between the 2 major political parties, stood as a bold experiment in collaboration and consensus building. Together, we broke barriers, setting new benchmarks in parliamentary openness, accountability, transparency, and inclusivity. On your behalf, I say, to God be the glory. Honorable members, when you graciously elected me as a Speaker of this Parliament in the early hours of 7th January 2021, I came to take the chair with no doubt in my mind that Ghanaians, from the verdict in the elections of 2020, were calling on Parliament to work in harmony for the greater good of all. In my remarks to Parliament, after I had taken my oath as Speaker, I requested of us all to prioritize, and I want to quote this: consultation, accommodation, and consensus building on matters of public interest. In my later acceptance speech that followed a few hours later that day, I promised that I will, I quote, submit myself to the will of the House and pledge to serve our dear country, to serve you and all Ghanaians faithfully, and to conscientiously discharge my duties as Speaker of Parliament. I further promise to wholeheartedly put at the disposal of Parliament and the country the store of knowledge, immense experience, and the huge data bank I have accumulated and accommodated over the years. These promises I have endeavored to keep throughout these 4 great years of service as Speaker of Parliament. On 15 January 2021, in a welcome address to the reconvened sitting of the first meeting of Parliament are touched on 5 core areas of parliamentary life. These include a special message to first-time members of Parliament, advice to members who become ministers of state, the expectations of the people of Ghana of the 8th Parliament, a focus on the core mandate and mission of Parliament without making the 8th Parliament an obstructionist or a rubber stamp legislature. And finally, on the subject of impartiality of the Speaker. Reflecting on my message in these 5 areas 4 years on, I observed how prophetic the message became. And it still amazes me how those issues I raised have turned out during the lifespan of the 8th Parliament. I am not going to detail that again in this address. But honorable members may recall that I advised the 114 first-time members to, quote, remember at all times that you lead your people best by serving them with respect, with humility, and with diligence. And that ultimately, responsibility for having a successful career in this House rests with you. Honorable members, I must say some of you heeded this call and have been rewarded with a new term in Parliament at the just ended elections. To those of you who have been privileged to return to the 9th Parliament, I repeat the prayer I said 4 years ago. May your career in this House be as long as and as progressive as mine has been. And I hope first-time members-elect who may be watching today's proceedings will take a cue and bear in mind that the day of accountability to the people is a short 4 years from tomorrow, the 7th of January, 2025. Honorable members, in that address 4 years ago, I also emphasized the expectation of the people of Ghana of this 8th Parliament. In denying both the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress single-party control of the legislative branch in the 2020 elections, Ghanaians were simply instructing the political class to chart a new path, to embark on new ways of transacting parliamentary business, which is nothing else but the business of the people. I reminded members of the call of the voters on us to disband the party-first mindset and mentality. I stressed the call on us to work together as a family with a common purpose. I must say, this Parliament did some amazing work through lots of bipartisan consultations and cooperation. But I note with regret how the same Parliament allowed what I then described as the unbridled partisanship and partisan polarization that has taken root in our politics and are giving our option of multi-party democracy a bad name. The people of Ghana are the better judges, and I leave that to them. Four years ago, You all recall there was a gripping fear that the 8th Parliament Honorable Member, I want to listen to you when you finish your conversation on the phone. Then I can continue. Four years ago, there was a gripping fear that the 8th Parliament would be either an obstructionist or a rubber stamp parliament. I'm happy today the leaders have given a view which is mixed feelings. Some say it was obstructionist, others say it was a rubber stamp, but others, and I think that's the general view, held the view that we were able to balance the issues better than the earlier parliaments. And I think this is an achievement. I am satisfied that I have not yielded to pressure from any quarters, and I believe I have courageously discharged this assurance to the administration and admiration of many in Ghana and the world over. My impartiality is not in doubt. It's only those who are not objective that will think otherwise. I have endeared myself to be fair, impartial, and firm in the handling of the business of the House over the last 4 years. Now, let me delve into what we have been able to collectively do in this Parliament over the last 4 years, despite numerous debilitating challenges. As I said, I will not go into the details because the handing over notes of the Clerk to Parliament and the annual reports of the Parliamentary Service have copiously referred to these matters. But Ghanaians will remember that we started the 8th Parliament with a backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic, which had members of Parliament starting the journey with frequent medical examinations on them, their families, staff of the Parliamentary Service, and the parliamentary community, such as the medical, the police, fire, ambulance, and other security personnel. And so when you talk about Parliament, it's not only members of Parliament, it's not only the staff of the Parliamentary Service, but all these public servants are counted as part of the institution of Parliament. Without them, we will not be able to perform our functions. You recall how we had to isolate those of you who were tested positive, and how some of you almost lost your lives as a result of this COVID-19 pandemic.